Well, hello there. My name is Dave Vila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views, broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, and national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of those making the comments and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of this program or its co-producers. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied. Any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry Curly or Schmo is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the discussion and the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, while I was sitting home wondering what a topic of interest we should talk about, one of the important things that popped into Sarah Bellum's mind was voting, and the sacred right of voting and voters' ID throughout the entire 51 states throughout the United States. I believe 14 states do not require identification when you go to vote. And I contain a military ID as well as my driver's license. And Bob has the same. Yeah. Tony's got something. Yep. Otherwise he wouldn't have been around.
Same as Bob.
Yeah. And it doesn't bother us to present this documentation to the polls when we exercise our right that a veteran Bob and a veteran Dave fought for those rights. And yet you've got a group of Democrats who are in opposition.
Well, with one exception, Senator John Fetterman. There might be 2 or 3 now in the House, not in the Senate, but in the House.
I'm just saying that I've said this as far as Michigan City is concerned, taking a new attitude. Maybe the entire 51 states should take a new attitude and adopt a voter ID to clarify who's who in a zoo. Bob?
But we do have it in Indiana. And that's
we do have it.
So I do have a little information in terms of early voting, but let me start this way. The primary in Indiana will be on May the 5th. Now, in the primary, you have to declare a party. And that goes back to the 1920s as a result of the influx into the Democrat Party of the Ku Klux Klan. And they were trying to hold back the nominees from the Ku Klux Klan that got on the ticket. And so as a result of that, they set it up so that each party, when you walked in to vote, you had to declare the party that you were voting for. Whether that stopped the Ku Klux Klan or not, I have no idea, but that was the idea behind it. Let me talk about one more thing. First of all, in order to vote in the primary, as Dave pointed out, you will have to bring an identification. Now, driver's license is a good piece of identification, but the general rule has to be government issued with a picture of you. So basically, driver's license does that. So does veterans' IDs that Dave and I have. In addition to that, you can go, if you don't have one of these IDs, you can go down to the License Bureau, and you don't have to apply for a driver's license. All you have to do is apply for an identification card, and they will supply you with one if you bring the right materials down in order to give you that identification such that you'll be able to vote in the primary. Now, we in Indiana do allow for early voting on elections, and the county clerk, Heather Stevens, has set up 4 places for early voting. Let me start with where they are. Number 1 is in Michigan City, and that is at a building on the corner of 8th and Wabash, and technically the address is 802 West 8th Street. So this is a county-owned facility that they've been trying to sell for a number of years and haven't been able to do so, but nevertheless they do use it for early voting. They've used it several times in the past, and this is another time that they will be using it. Let me start with the locations. That's Michigan City's early voting place. LaPorte's early voting place is at the fairgrounds, just outside of LaPorte. There are 2 more. They are out in the county. Wanata and Rolling Prairie. Wanata is in the southern part of the county, Rolling Prairie is in the eastern part of the county, and I think they looked at Michigan City as being in the western part of the county, and LaPorte as being in the center of the county. When you are allowed to early vote, the two places that will be open first will be LaPorte and Michigan City. They will open on April the 7th. The outlying county early voting places, Rolling Prairie and Wanata, will open on April 21st. Anytime you want to vote and you are out in the county and you can get to one of these places and it's open, you can vote no matter what. You just have to bring your ID because they have it set up such that the clerks will be able to go into the registered voting records and know if you are a registered voter and eligible to vote. So this is going to be wide open as to where you want to vote, but it has to be obviously in one of those places. Now, we talked about the location in Michigan City on 8th and Wabash. Now, the polling places, both in Michigan City and LaPorte, will be open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. One more time, 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, or to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Now on Wednesdays, the early voting places in Michigan City and LaPorte will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. So that's Wednesdays.
10 a.m. to 6 a.m.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Sorry about that. My engineer friend over there caught that one. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
So there'd be plenty of opportunity to do early voting if you so desire. Some other points about this. The two county locations, they will not open until April the 21st. So the two locations open April 7th up to the 21st, Michigan City and LaPorte. Then the two locations, which will make 4 of them then, that will open after that, will be in Rolling Prairie and Wanata. Now, I talked about Michigan City being on 8th and Wabash, LaPorte being at the fairgrounds. The early voting in Wanata will be at their town hall. The early voting in Rolling Prairie will be at the Willis Township Community Center. One more time, in Rolling Prairie, Willis Township Community Center. Again, they will open on the 21st. Their hours of operation then will coincide with the early voting centers in Michigan City and LaPorte. Monday and Tuesday, they will be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thursday and Friday, same 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on Wednesdays, it'll be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for people to go in and vote, and we hope we have a really good turnout in this election. One of the things that kind of gave me a hard time for the last couple of weeks was getting a total listing of who will be on the ballot. One of the problems we had, I've never seen anything like this. County chairman, both Republicans and Democrats, contending that
That's up to date.
contending that certain
I
people,
emailed that to you, Bob.
yeah, but the problem I had was that the county county chairman in both the Republican and the Democrat Party were contending that certain people should not be on the ballot. Those had to be settled by the county election board. And so as a result of that, I kind of waited until they got those things settled. So I think you will have a complete list of everybody who you will be eligible to vote for. I don't understand why we had so much of that this year, but apparently people were trying to register and were not eligible under the law, under the rules to run for the office they set up. Now, a lot of those, or a significant number of those, were in minor offices. Well, I shouldn't call them minor, but relatively minor offices, precinct committee people, and delegates to the state convention.
Well, my understanding was that's all been rectified, and
That's what I was waiting for.
that is the list. And
Okay, good.
Supposedly someplace in your archives on your computer you have
Well, I see one on here that was contended, and apparently he won the contention. Okay.
Grammarosa?
I'm looking at the list online. So Superior Court 1, Republican Jamie Ost, Democrat Michael Bergerson.
Yeah,
LaPorte Superior Court 2, Republican, no Republican, Democrat Richard Stallbrink. Superior Court 3, Guy DiMartino, Kurt Ernst, Republicans, Democrat James McCullough. Superior Court 4, Republican John Link, no Democrat. LaPorte County Prosecutor, Republican Sean Fagan, Chuck Watterson, Democrat John Lake. Republican or Representative District 9, Chris Cleveland, Republican Randy Novak. That's kind of the Michigan City district. State Senate District 4, Republican Jonas Poulard, Nate Earldricks, Democrat Rodney Pohl. That would be Michigan City and Porter
County.
That's Senate District 4.
Yeah.
LaPorte County Assessor, Republican Barbara Houston, Democrat Mike Schultz. LaPorte County Commissioner District 1, Connie Graham Morosa, Jody Slaybaugh, Democrat Angela Hensman, and Ron Meir. So you have someone to pick for either party.
Yeah.
LaPorte County Council District 1, John Watson is a Republican, Democrat Gut Logwood, and Olga Pothorsky. LaPorte County District Council District 2, Republican Ray Maloney and John Pavolka, Democrat Timothy Cavinder, and Jenny Heath. She's right now in that seat, which was Randy Novak. LaPorte County District Council District 3, that's Michigan City, right? The Republican James Baker, Democrat President incumbent Mark Yagelski. LaPorte County Council District 4, Republican Jimmy Pressel Jr. and Timothy Stabos, Democrat Tyler R. Brownlee. So the Republicans got some of the vote. LaPorte County Sheriff Ron Heeg, and no Democrats. So there's your major offices.
Right.
We're ready to go. When is that, April?
Now, notice how many names that he put out there. My advice is that if you do not know the names of at least the significant offices of the people that are running, generally the headquarters will have ballots that have been printed up ahead of time that you can go in and take a look at, or they will be published in the newspapers. And if you can't get to either one of those, when you walk into the polling place, they will have a ballot that shows all the names. You might want to take a note card and a pen and write down the key names that you want to vote for, and you can find that out just by going through that ballot.
And there's lots of other boards, trustees, lots of boards where, and what do you call them? The parties have
State
delegates,
Yeah.
and the parties have their people that they got to fill in case an elected official needs to be changed. Then they vote. The precinct committeeman.
Yeah.
You can run for a precinct committeeman in your party. So this, I just picked this up. This is off of a website that has the latest filings. I see that Michael Bergerson's running against Jamie Oss as LaPorte Superior Court 1.
Yeah.
Because Jamie Oss was the incumbent, right? And Michael Bergerson was the incumbent.
Yeah.
And I saw him at a meeting somewhere, and I thought that was kind of funny because he's a good guy, good dude, and I didn't know he was running for judge again. So he does a good job.
Prediction. The winner of that race will be based on turnout. Below Highway 6 and above Highway 6. If they get a great turnout below Highway 6, that all of a sudden, over the course of the last 6 to 10 years, we have got a lot more Republicans move into that area, which was why in the last election, Jamie Oss was able to prevail because of the Republican vote south of 6. Now, if the Democrat vote north of 6 is heavy, then I predicted Michael Bergeson.
I think you had the huge influx of, and I am a poster child of it, of Republicans in the last election because of Trump, and the last 3 elections because of Trump. And now we're going to see, and across the nation, everyone's going to be looking at how the turnout happens in the off year, trying to prognosticate to the next election where they don't have Trump on a ticket. Will you have Democrats or Republicans who are Republicans, or people who came out and voted for Trump Republicans? Just like we had in Reagan. We had Reagan Democrats, we had a lot of Reagan Republicans that came out, and it happens every time there is, I think, a celebrity on the ballot. And Trump is a celebrity, Reagan's a celebrity, and we're going to find out, and they're going to look at this. You're exactly right. This election is very important to vote, always is. But it's more important for the prognosticators who are going to drill down and see how it came out. Because if you look at the presidential, the Democrats in Michigan City, I would say we're not very happy with their candidate. And the Republicans were very happy with their candidate. Now you're going to see if that has changed any. My guess, make a prediction, I think it's a 50-50 call. It's going to be a tight race. But you probably have more Republicans than Democrats right now because they're still happy.
Well, there's another factor that goes into that. and that is, in Michigan City, the loss of population. Back, let's say 20, 25 years ago, maybe longer than that, Michigan City was a population of about 45,000 if you count the prison. Prisoners don't vote, so let's make it 42,000 without the prison. That population has slid by 30%. So, and the Republicans were always the weakest in Michigan City. So if the Republican vote went down by 30%, and the Democrat vote went down by 30%, the Republicans actually won because in numbers-wise, the Democrats lost more voters than the Republicans did.
Now,
So that's going to be an
it's
interesting
going to be
fight.
tough to look at the results from the primary and protract them to the general, because issues that make people vote are your pocketbook. And gas is up, oil is up, gold's down, the economy, and that can sway quickly within weeks. And how that works in November, I don't know if anyone can predict that one.
No, in primaries, remember, it's the competition within the parties. So basically what you get is people voting for names that are known or well-known, and for people who perhaps were not well-known, but who put on a great campaign, got their names out there, they will tend to also do pretty well. Door-to-door campaigns kind of went by the boards for a long time, but they're still effective for people that want to do it. It's a lot of work, but it's also a good walk and healthy for you, so you might want to think about that.
The number they're going to look at is total Republicans voting in the primary, total Democrats voting in the primary, compared 2026 to 2024.
Yep.
And that will be the number that everybody talks to you about, because if the Democrats gain people and the Republicans lose people, that's why I say it's a 50-50. That's why I think it's going to happen. Or the Republicans hold their numbers and people show up in the primary, and the Democrats hold their numbers, you're going to see something more like 2024. Everyone's going to be looking at that total number. And you'll look down the ballot, but you're looking at the total number who show up in your primary to see how motivated the parties are come November.
But in addition to that, the next election, after this election, will be the mayoralty election. And so as a result of that, I got a feeling that they're going to be looking at the Democrat turnout and the Republican turnout
Within the city.
within the city of Michigan City and within the city of LaPorte.
Yeah, I think Michigan City is a no-brainer inside of Michigan. Unless you split the vote up, that's pretty simple. But they are looking at the total number of Democrats that show up in their primary in Michigan City. But when you're looking in November, you're looking at the total number of party people in your primary and who will show up in November. You usually have more show up in November, but because most people, there are people that don't like to declare for whatever reason. They work for the government. They don't want somebody saying they're one or the other. But I think it's going to be 50-50. I think it's going to be a close call, and everyone's going to be looking at that turnout, the R&D turnout in the primary, the total number.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see what do they call it? When you have a major candidate, are the I can't think of the word now. Are the tailcoat. What do they call that?
Well,
the coattails. Are the coattails long without a Trump?
Yeah.
That is the question that everyone is asking right now for 2028. That 2026, this primary will give you a glimpse in the coattails, because you're talking coattails, not Trump. Well, he's probably going to support some candidate, but you're probably talking coattails for Vance, maybe Newsom, the California governor, or I think the Democrat Shapiro in Pennsylvania. Everyone on either party is looking at Trump's coattails for 2028. Guaranteed. And we'll see what happens.
But you also got to look at the numbers in terms of Republicans and Democrats that turned out in Michigan City and in LaPorte in terms of possibilities for a mayor.
In comparison between 2024 and 2026. They will look at 2027 for a mayor. That is kind of a local race, but I said it depends on the issue, the pocketbook issues. We have lots of issues right now. Taxes, fees, electric, gas, land rights. There are a lot of issues swirling around the political world that can change an election 3 weeks before an election. And who knows? Who knows what it's going to be in 2 weeks before November? no one is going to be able to predict that.
Anytime you have a war going,
Yeah.
that can change very quickly. So we're going to have to see how the outcome of the war, and once it's over, what that does to oil prices, what that does to our security inside the United States. Because right now, the biggest problem inside the United States we have is the Democrats who do not want to fund the Homeland Security bill.
That's a good point. I read a lot of comments about that, and I agree, but I'd like to see some numbers. How much does the United States pay to run the Transportation Security Agency, the TSA? Because they don't do it for anybody else. They don't do it for the police. They don't do it for the fire. Why wouldn't that money be paid by the people who buy tickets on the airplanes? I buy tickets too, so I don't want to pay the extra. That charge should be directly attributable to the people that fly the planes. Why is the government paying to run TSA when you should have to pay? Because if you don't fly, like you don't have a star in your license, you're not going to be allowed on the plane. Why are you paying to pay for security on an airplane? If you fly it, you pay. Just like Michigan City pays for its police department to police the streets. The sheriff pays for the police the streets in the county. Why are we paying for people getting on an airplane in Chicago? That's a question I have, and that's a lot of questions coming out in the comments. Why are we locked into this?
Way back when, I used to fly quite a bit, but I don't have to do that anymore, thank you. And so as a result of that, I can look at it from two aspects. Tony's got a good aspect on that one. The other aspect is the security of the United States at risk because of organized types of entities that want to harm the U.S.? That one of the ways they can do it is by planting bombs on aircraft.
One of the way they did it.
Yes.
They did it.
So are you looking at some kind of an organized situation, terror organization, or are you just looking at individuals who, for whatever reason, decide to be goofy? The problem is that the terror organizations are the ones that are the better organized, and that's one of the reasons why the United States pays for the Department of Homeland Security.
You're a financial guy, and I always look at this. I don't think it's going to be possible for the airplane riders, fares payers, rate payers, to pay for the TSA. So I think they should pay for some, maybe 50%, and then we still have the government and the organization of the TSA and the Department of Homeland Security being mostly paid or halfly paid by the people using the service that they needed. Because we do need the government to track the whole world of what's happening and people that would cause harm very badly worldwide.
Let me talk about the initial statement that started this conversation, the elections. I have a situation that legislation was adopted in 2014 dictating the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission's policies. It's now 2026, all right? It has taken these people that we elect on this ballot, what is it, 2014?
12 years.
12 years to clarify what was adopted in 2014. The individuals that we elect for these various offices, once they get elected, they forget about the letter of the law. Here's a prime example with the TIF district, with the reporting of the TIF district that was established in 2014 that is still not complied with the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission, because the people that we elect in these elections, from the precinct committee person on up, they don't understand what the letter of the law means. So, you're a precinct committee person, you elect a friend to a specific office who is of a limited intelligence quotient, who then proceeds and maybe he or she becomes an authoritative individual within a city. The people that we elect at the polls, need to know something, or they shouldn't even put their name on the ballot. And I've got a prime example here. In 2026, the governor basically ensured that a portion of the excess property tax proceeds collected from the TIF district in 2026 The issue was adopted in 2014.
Yeah. The request.
The request. Why did it take 12? And maybe AI, maybe is the solution, you know, to clarify some of these.
You make a good point, because when you go down there and elect, we have papers here, and we have other papers you don't see. Volumes of laws and rules. And when you go down the state, you have legislative service agency. They have people down there that's their career to help out elected officials understand the volumes of data and laws that are passed and going to be passed and have been passed, to try to understand what you research when you're looking for something specific, that it's out there. So they get elected and they've got volumes that get up to speed, and they rely on the legislative service agencies. I have a strange idea about the legislative service. Do they really fill you in? And should they have to fill you in? Shouldn't you have to read and understand everything you're about to vote on?
Now,
But before we get into all that heavy stuff, I have one that's very non-heavy. You can just relax and think about this. But today is the first day of spring. And way back on February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil predicted that we would have 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah.
He was very close. It was 7 more weeks. So as a result of that, we are now into the situation.
Don't jinx it. We could have another week of winter.
Now into the situation where
I want to go back to
you guys want to do all this heavy stuff. You got to have a little light stuff in there.
We have people out there that have moved through the ranks, and who was an individual who's a fire chief, and he then filled in, and he's now keeping the seat warm for the former individual who held that seat, that kept that seat lukewarm. And I believe that this individual watches our program, because he has adopted some legislation. He has sponsored legislation in regards to this bill, effectively July 1st, 2006, amends existing Indiana law concerning tax increment financing, of which I've been complaining about.
House Bill 1244.
Yeah, of which I've been complaining. So again, even though he and I can walk by side, he comes one way and I walk the other way, and he doesn't acknowledge me. Yeah, to a certain extent I hold that against him, because maybe he doesn't know me. But the fact of the matter is, he listens to us.
We hope.
We hope.
We hope.
And through his efforts, we have accomplished something on this issue. Clarification. We hope.
We hope.
We hope, because his name is a sponsor of this legislation. So I'll just use his first name, Randy. Congratulations, and thank you for listening, and hopefully you'll hear more of what's going on in regards to the undercurrents of Michigan City that you may not be aware of. Thank you.
Okay, you got something lighter?
I got another situation that's just a light situation. But if you go back in history in Michigan City, the Barker family very much into the city of Michigan City, primarily through the Haskell and Barker Car Works. At one time, they employed well over 5,000 people. And the Barker family, as a result of that, unfortunately, they had deaths in the family that really decimated it. But what then happened was the Haskell and Barker Works went into a trust when both John Barker and his wife, Catherine Barker, passed away, and their daughter had not yet attained the age of 21. So that was held in trust until she got to be 21, and then Pullman came in and bought it. But Pullman, like a lot of corporations, had entities spread throughout the country, a big one being in Chicago, where they built sleeper cars. And as a result of that, the hit to Michigan City and the things that the Barker family did for Michigan City, not near as significant as what they accomplished when Barker basically ruled a lot of Michigan City because of the car works, and did a lot of positive things, including having built the YMCA, including having built Barker Hall, and left a mansion. What a lot of people don't understand about that mansion is in the 1940s, mid-1940s, that turned into a Purdue extension.
Yep.
And you could take classes there, for which would get you 30 hours of credit, or 1 year on campus. In those classes, their credits could be transferred not only down to Purdue, but also to any other state college in the state of Indiana. And you got your 30 hours of credit. And a lot of the kids that I went to school with actually spent a year going there. It was cheaper. You could go there.
You have a
could
job, stay at home.
Yeah. So as a result of that, they got their first year paid for by that method. The Barker family has now the Barker Family Foundation has now refurbished that mansion. You can take tours through there. It's very interesting. And they are building a little museum to show the kinds of, I'll call them trail cars, because that was a term back then, that they were building. And they turned out sometimes 100 of them a day. This was a big part of the Industrial Revolution. Now, there's another Barker family. It was the Norton Barker family. There are rumors as to whether Norton Barker was the brother of John Barker, which is the one I happen to think is correct. There's another rumor that he was the nephew of John Barker. If you go down 421 Franklin Street, you will come to Barker Ave. That was named after John Barker.
Really?
Go another mile down south, and you'll come to Barker Road. That was named after Norton Barker. And his house, estate really, was built on what today is Barker Road, but more importantly, kitty corner from Barker Middle School. When the last Barker family member died, and she died, I think, in about the late 70s, that land went to a land trust. That land trust has now been taken over by the Save the Dunes Foundation, and the Save the Dunes Foundation has gotten a couple of grants, so they're going to refurbish the house that was on that 4-acre plus estate, and they're going to put in trails that it's going to contain the kinds of trees and fauna that you would see normally in this part of Indiana. There'll be walking trails, and I think it's going to be pretty nice. The house itself will be available for meetings and this kind of thing, and I think it's rather nice that the Save the Dunes Foundation is involved in doing this, and they did, as I mentioned, get 2 grants, so that should be helpful in the restoration also.
And that parcel of ground I'm looking at, I believe that parcel of ground is like 40 acres. It's a very big piece of ground. You wouldn't even understand how big it is unless you go and you drive by. I'm trying to zoom in here. It's an original, what's neat about it, it's an original 40-acre tract that farmers or other people got back in the day, and the Barker family has retained that, and it's really amazing. There it is. So yes,
well, I like it because it's kitty corner from Barker Junior High School, and they're going to be able to put walking trails in there that teachers, especially in the science classes or biology classes, are going to be able to take the kids over and just let them walk through the trail.
Yeah, they sold off 5 acres, but it was a 40-acre square. I've been in the house. It's really super cool. I'm glad they're fixing up. It is a pretty amazing house, but the Save the Dunes been in there, and they're going to fix it up. It did need some fixing. It's a very, very neat place, and I'm glad the public's going to come.
And it's one more positive for Michigan City. We've had a lot of positives happen over the course of the last 30 years. Things that when I was on the city council in the early 1970s, we just dreamed about.
Well, the Barker family had some hard times. And I can tell you that the Barker family now, with 7th Street and Wabash and everything they're doing, they're amazing. That family, and they come here from California and Florida, and they spend time here, and they're amazing. They are really wholeheartedly pulling up the Barker family name, and it's what they're doing. We can't thank them enough.
I agree.
And one of the issues, hopefully some of our viewing audience remembers the Works building. That now it's disappeared. And the exterior of the Works building included Italian marble. And this Italian marble, when they tore the Works building, went who knows where. My thought was, because the Barker concept is building this museum that you're talking about, the outside perimeter of that building should have encompassed some of that Italian marble if they could find it. But again, that's retaining historical
Yeah.
visual historical things of Michigan City that so often gets lost in
And you
this.
can't get back.
You can't get
Once
back.
it's gone, no
Once
one's going to build a building with Italian marble.
One of the interesting things in the Works building, if you remember walking into the place, you'd seen a gigantic wall clock, hanging wall clock. And I tried to get my hands on it. Of course, I couldn't. But I know the location of where that clock is now located. It is located in the Barker Mansion.
Oh,
That was one of the things that somebody had enough sense to retain. It's an old pendulum clock that stands maybe 6 foot high.
we
and
got to
it's-
tell them where the Works building was.
well, the Works building is where a lighthouse outlet. It's across the street from the 8th and Wabash.
Right at the corner. It
Right
was
at the
right at the corner.
A little bit beyond over the corner. But there were little knick-knack stores. But somebody decided, in their ultimate wisdom of making Michigan City's history disappear, to tear the building down. And there are numerous incidences similar to Michigan City's historical, the old YMCA.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and
Yeah.
talk about. We have, again, going back to
High school.
Now, wait a minute. The old YMCA he's talking about was
Which book
Kenny
was that?
Carter from the Barker Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the Barker Mansion.
But again, our Michigan City history is gone, and we have 137 vacant acres of ground in the north end of Michigan City that maybe some of those properties were historical properties. 711
various reasons, but we won't go.
Yeah, I
into
know. 711 Franklin Street. The city of Michigan City authorized, gave basically to the owner of 711 Franklin Street some TIF money to rehabilitate the building. That was like 3 or 4 years ago. The building is in the same condition now, other than the exterior. The brick looks a little cleaner, but the building is up for rent. We have stupid things after stupid things after stupid things, and it all goes back to what I said earlier about who we elect to a specific office. They have no idea of the concept, what builds a community.
I hate to tell you, but it goes back deeper than that. It goes back to who is willing to put their name on a ballot in the political climate in which we live. So
I'll
we
agree,
have,
yeah.
good people who don't have the time nor the energy to take part in some of the political shenanigans that go on, where you see it, we all know it. I mean, people are attacking people, trying to destroy people personally. They're tracking them around. They're looking into their lives. I mean, would any good person want to put their name? And thank God there are people who put their name on the ballot. They understand the true gravity of what's probably coming at them for really no reason.
But the point I want to make, Tony, is the importance of an election. It is very important to elect qualified people, or to convince qualified
You have
people
to put their name on the
to
ballot.
put your name on a ballot to get them involved.
Maybe we all did it. We've all been on the ballot, and we can tell you,
Yep,
sometimes it ain't fun.
it's a popularity
Sometimes
contest.
you win, sometimes you lose.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose,
Yep.
and
Yep. But it is very
the wind
important.
blows.
There are qualified people out there that would take the bull by the horns, but there's a problem. That's one individual against the loudest mouth in the house, so to speak.
Okay, I want to go quickly to Bob brought up in your time off where you were doing some research, the Ohio 20 Street, Ohio and US 20. So in my spare time, I have the software. I do this for a living. What does a roundabout look like at Ohio and 20? Because usually you look at roundabouts, and again, I am not a fan, but they work. Highway 20 is 5 lanes, a turn lane and 4 lanes. Ohio is really 3 lanes.
In my mind, it's a bunch of rumble strips.
It's
what Ohio
bad,
is.
but look at this roundabout that I did for free. It's got 4 lanes in every direction. Doesn't take much, and it even fits, and it actually narrows the pavement on Highway 20 while increasing the safety. So for anyone watching, maybe a roundabout at Ohio and 20 would go a long way, that Indiana Department of Transportation would help us have a safer intersection.
Is that an NDOT issue?
That's an NDOT issue.
The thing about roundabouts is they cause a certain amount of confusion. And as a result of that,
A certain amount?
people slow down.
Yes.
My concern is it going to slow down the trucks?
They call that traffic calming.
Because it's the trucks that are causing the big problem. They get up to Franklin Street, 421 and 20,
Yeah.
they're headed west, and they stop or they slow down, and then they think they're through it. And so as a result of that, they speed back up again, not realizing that there's lights. Now, maybe they'll realize there's a roundabout there, but I hope, if that goes through, but they speed up not realizing that there's a light, and they get about 100 yards from the light, and all of a sudden they discover it, and it's red, and what do? Well, they blast on the horn to let people know they're going through, and this has got to stop. Somebody's going to get really hurt.
Yeah, we have no inside game. We are not connected to NDOT. There is no consulting here with NDOT. That's just something I have, the program. I do this. I'm not doing it for this, but there's a solution for Michigan City right there, and NDOT could pay for it, and we get a safer, calmer intersection, and it doesn't affect, typically a roundabout affects the adjacent property owners because it gets bigger. This intersection is already huge. It's pretty easy. I don't know if you could do the same thing at 421 and Franklin and 20. Probably not, but maybe you could, because you look at Valparaiso out there by the Target. They did a huge roundabout and a very tiny intersection.
They got roundabouts all over.
And 421 and 20 in Franklin is a very big intersection too. Maybe we have one there too. But there's a quick solution. That was the President of Bob.
Because we got to get that truck situation.
Yeah, we get them slowed down, we get them calmed down, and they don't have to slam on the brakes or ram through the intersection.
Just pull on the
Or
horn.
pull on the horn. They can slow down and they can save gas and diesel because they're not slamming on the brakes and trying to get started to make it through the intersection with the full load.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. So there's a quick note. That's for anyone who's watching who's in the administration. I've done a couple others for the administration for fun. I did one at Michigan Boulevard and 12 by the Blue Chip Bridge because everyone knows that light and that intersection is huge and really weird. I did one for there too. A nice roundabout would work very well in that situation. Again, I can repeat myself a million times. I'm not really a fan of them, but they work.
They cause confusion, and that's why they work.
What I see here is there has to be a coordinated effort between the state and the city of Michigan City, because the condition of Ohio Street that's right in front of my house, where, and I call it a rumble street, because you can, when somebody goes above and beyond the speed limit, you can hear the rumbles and rumbles.
Well, I got to ask you, that hasn't been paved since the Overley administration.
That has not been paved, I believe, since when we moved in.
Overley was the last person to pave that.
Yeah. The condition of Ohio Street is deplorable.
So what is that? That's
That would be-
that's
all right.
16 years.
All right.
Yeah.
All about the right time. About 15 years to get your road repaired.
Here we go. We're going to get into a discussion. Now, I realize that Michigan City has some side streets that really need help, but you haven't seen side streets that need help until you've been in LaPorte, trying to figure out how the hell you get through just the Lincoln Way, which is the main street.
Don't go that way.
If you try it today, so help me, at the right time, you can get backed up clear over the Eddie Simcott Bridge, past McDonald's.
But
Now, the nice part
don't
about
go over
that
the
is
bridge.
you can run into McDonald's and you can come out, your car is
The
still there.
issue is improving the traffic flow in Michigan City. Who cares about what the hell's going on in
You guys
LaPorte?
keep telling me about LaPorte, that's why I threw that out there.
No. I'm just saying,
Michigan City has better roads than
a
LaPorte.
cooperative effort between the state, something has to be initiated between,
I think the state does that on their own.
but also with the city of Michigan City in conjunction with enhancing the
But
traffic
that
flow
would
down
not-
Ohio Street.
That would not be something that the city of Michigan City would pay for.
That's a purely in that
That's
project.
purely a state highway.
How far do they go beyond? Do they?
They go a little bit into Ohio, both north and south, so
But
that would be
wouldn't
an NDOT project.
Wouldn't a cooperative effort between NDOT and the city of Michigan City?
No, because we don't want to pay. Make them pay. we don't want to use our money to fix the other streets.
Now I missed something when I talked about the primary. I have to talk about this because I missed it, so I get 2 minutes to throw this in. For those of you that are wondering about the school board election, way
Oh, yeah.
back when we used to have school board elections at the primary. They have been moved to the fall election.
Really? I didn't know
So
that.
as a result of that, in November, there will be a school board election, and Tony and I.
Yeah, do you fill out a petition for Dave?
We're gonna get one. Tony and I will be passing out a petition for Dave to be elected to the school board. And hopefully, we will get some people to
He
sign.
thinks we're joking. We might not be. You can watch him on the school board meeting and on here during the week.
My tongue is tied at this particular moment in time right now. Again, I shook my head last time, but looking at,
You might do it.
looking
Talk
at,
about having good men turn out for the election.
looking at the letter of the law. It is written for a reason. We have right now in the Michigan City area schools, they're designing. They want to reduce the size of the elementary schools. There used to be 19 elementary schools here in Michigan City back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Really?
19 elementary schools. Now, how many do we have now? 8?
Hey,
8.
That might be that might be too many.
I was gonna say, that might count junior high
Well,
schools.
but again, that's what they want.
population's decreasing.
That's right. They want to reduce the amount of elementary schools
The population's decreasing.
to take the 5th and 6th graders out of elementary and put them in a junior high concept. I'm just saying there's move afoot, and for people who want to show some interest in the educational prowess of Michigan City, they should attend these meetings that the school board is putting
They
on.
could put their name on the ballot and they could get elected to the school
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw something out if that occurs, because I think, and this goes back to the fact that Purdue, what used to be North Central, Ivy Tech, and numbers of others do not have remedial classes. Someplace along the line, we have got to figure out how do we get remedial classes for those kids that are coming out and can only do math at a 3rd grade level or a 4th grade level and can only read at a 5th grade level. If they're going to be able to succeed in life, if they're going to be able to get even into Ivy Tech, which unfortunately does not do remedial classes anymore. Purdue used to do remedial classes, they don't do them anymore because they've become a solid college for very valid reasons, and it's a real positive. And I can talk about that too, but I'll do that at a later date. But I'm thinking that couldn't we, and we'd have to get this approved through the state, couldn't we, if they abandon one of the grade schools, couldn't we set that up as a school where we could have those who need remedial reading classes, remedial math classes, but have a high school degree, but are only functioning at, let's say, a 5th grade level? Could we put them into a remedial situation in one of those schools, let them work, they can get a certificate if they get through it, but hopefully teach them to do more math and teach them to do more reading.
And there's a simple way of doing it, Bob.
Nothing is simple anymore, but go right ahead.
No, really. Utilize music as an instructional
Oh, yeah.
tool for education. You can learn your scales, you can learn your alphabet, you can learn hand-to-eye coordination by utilizing a instrument of some sort, whether it's just little bitty ding-dong bells or something like this. Initiate a program within the Michigan City area schools that teach basic fundamentals of music, which then shows the kids that if he wants to learn how to count to 8, he has his scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He knows he'll be able to, he's got dexterity there. And you start that at the
I think that would be a positive to put it into the school system. But the problem we have is these kids are graduating out of the school system. I'm talking about those that basically are reading at the 3rd and 4th grade level. Even with that program, they might be reading at the 3rd. We've got to get them into some kind of a remedial program.
But what you have now is between Barker and Krieger, you're going to have like 300 or 400 music kids diving into Michigan City High School, freshman kids coming in. That concept works An individual who is a trumpet player or whatever, or a guitar player, he has to concentrate on hitting the proper chords, the proper strings, finger placement, and so on. Maybe music is an opportunity to teach these kids basic fundamentals, learning your alphabet, learning how to count to 8. And maybe after you learn how to count to 8, maybe you do the scales twice and then you're up to 16.
I think it's a logistic issue, and I am not, again, on the inside here, but we have Krieger and we have Barker. We are losing students, and most school systems think that they're going to put 5th and 6th graders inside the junior high. I don't agree with that. I think we should look at the future, that if maybe, because Barker is kind of landlocked, Krieger has a lot more ground. Krieger's getting old. Krieger's going to need a massive update soon. So we update Krieger, we put all the junior highs in Krieger, we take Barker and we use it, like Bob wants, for a school, because it is closer to the high school, for remedial high school. And we need to put some of these kids back into the elementary school. I don't believe 5th graders should be in junior high. 6th, 7th, and 8th, yes. And that way we realign ourselves back to what I believe is the place kids need to be. A 5th grader in junior high, they're not ready. 6th, 7th, and 8th, 6th getting ready, 7th, yes, 8th, definitely. And then junior high, then the high school could have another remedial campus called Barker that these kids can, if they have to come from the high school to there, they can. It's pretty close. Because Krieger is going to need to be, and I guarantee, I don't know, no inside game, I guarantee the school board are already looking at it. Krieger's getting old, getting really old, and they have a lot of ground that Barker does not have. Or, worst case scenario, we don't get Barker to be remedial, we take Barker and we develop in the home sites or townhomes or something, because it's right in the middle of everything. And
Yeah.
it's very valuable ground to the school district. That's my thought, that if you were on the school board, that's what I hope you'd do.
But we got to start working with these kids such that they can get into at least decent paying jobs. They've got to be able to read. They've got to be able to do
Well,
math.
they got to be ready for
And
more
I'm
than we
saying-
were ever ready for.
I'm saying those kids that we got to start to work with are at the elementary level.
Yes.
You got to start when their minds are so impressionable that they see SpongeBob, whatever the name of that cartoon character is, and they identify it with SpongeBob, and maybe incorporate the educational system in the cartoon of SpongeBob to make that mind absorb basic fundamentals of education. That's all I'm saying.
Where we need to start is we got to figure out how many students we have in the school system currently, where do they come from, and how many more students will gravitate into this school system, where will they come from, and are we shrinking in terms of the population? Now, the other question is, will Michigan City's population turn around? Will it start to
I think it
grow?
will. But you're right. I've never seen a school board, any school board, have some sort of internal, and I don't want to pay a consultant, look at who do we have, who's coming up, who are the 2-year-old, 3-year-olds. Do we know that? I don't think they do. I think we just hope somebody shows up next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they do have these kindergarten roundups, don't
no, but we don't have somebody looking at the birth rate or the number of families or the kids in the community or the school district, and look at somebody, hopefully it's the superintendent, or the superintendent's vice superintendent, like, okay, there's 300 2-year-olds and 100 3-year-olds. Are we ready for them as in enough seats, or are we ready for them because we got too many seats?
Yeah.
It seems like we just willy-nilly, oh my gosh, we're reactionary. We need more students. Oh, we need more classrooms. Oh, we have too many classrooms. What are we going to do? I mean, and then we get this consternation of everyone, you're going to close my school, you're going to close my school, you're going to transfer my school. And it just seems like we're running around chasing our tail because we don't look like any company should look. Some of the best companies look. Who's in the bullpen? Who's coming up? What's your next product? How are you going to make any money? Not just, hey, we're going to show up for school here, and we have a kindergarten roundup, which is great, and we see how many people might show up. No, we should know how many people are probably going to show up for kindergarten roundup. How many kids are ready? And I don't know. I've never seen that in a school board meeting. I could be wrong.
Well, one of the things we're going to have to look at is the parents in those situations. Number one, are they on welfare? And then that is basically their
Yeah,
only
you would know that.
means of income. They're probably going to be here because they
Yep.
have a hard time
You could
getting
do an analysis, you'll know.
Yeah. Then the other situation you're going to look at is, does the parent have a stable job at a decent salary? And I'll mention a couple. Hitachi Solar. If you got a parent working there,
3 minutes.
you're probably going to stay. GAF.
Yeah.
If you got a parent working there, you're probably going to stay. Fiberbond, same situation.
Good people.
On the other hand, if you got a parent who's working at a restaurant, not the owner, who basically is just getting get by take-home pay, they're more apt to try to go to someplace like Chesterton or Valparaiso, and all of a sudden we've lost them. You got to start looking at things like that.
We only got a couple of minutes.
Well, I'm just saying with the concept with the schools, when law has been put in place by the governor that basically identifies 10% of redevelopment commission's money to be going towards education, that's an influx of dollars that is available for the school system to take advantage of. I'm just saying, when I first got on this, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I saw the problem that the Redevelopment Commission has been shortchanging Michigan City area schools. I use the term cheating Michigan City area schools. And of course, oh, you can't say that. Well, they are. They're deflecting their responsibility towards the educational process of revenue derived from the TIF district. I'll say it again, I'll say it again, I'll say it again, I'll say it again. You've got individuals sitting in those offices that don't know what the hell they're doing.
People say that you're mad, but you're making a difference. Mad.
I'm making, I have no axe to grind. I'm 82 years old.
He is making a difference. You might have made a difference.
I'm 82 years old. The educational, I've got grandkids who will eventually have kids, and we want those kids to stay in Michigan City if there's available jobs.
Whoa, 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 not necessarily. If you look at the kids today, and do they want to have kids, you get a totally different answer than the culture that we came up with.
It goes back to, again, a comment that I made earlier. Michigan City has to take new attitude. And above and beyond attitude pertaining to education, pertaining to city streets, pertaining to the democratic process. We have to take a new attitude. We're down to the last minute.
Read us out.
And I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements or criticism of our program is greatly appreciated. Please contact Show's co-producers Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailhem@yahoo.com. Or you may direct your ideas for any future shows to our one and only staff writer, or Sarah Bellum. She's getting back into the swing of things. She's getting out of her lazy boy and she's doing things. Showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m., also Monday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m. on Channel 99. You may also enjoy watching us on our YouTube channel, 99 Navigate News and Views. I want to thank everybody for watching and make it a good day.